Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Next Forecast, where we highlight forward-thinking leaders who are shaping the industry. Today, I have a very special guest, the founder of Texas Property Management Partners, Trey Waldhauser. Trey, thank you very much for joining me today.
Anytime, Duran. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Trey, can you tell us a bit about your story, your journey, and how you got started in this business in the first place?
Absolutely. So when I bought my first house, a Vietnam veteran helped me purchase it using my VA loan. That was a great experience with that real estate broker. So over time, working in corporate America, I finally decided to control my own future and joined him in real estate. Started with KW. By chance, I happened to run into a real estate director for one of the largest property management companies here in the Houston area at the time. It's called Empire Industries. I started off as their listing agent, quickly moved over to their property management space where I was given the biggest portfolio of 400 properties to manage. The owners of that organization ended up selling to a large hedge fund called MYND, which many people are familiar with. They manage over 20,000 properties across 17 different states here in America. The founder actually created Invitation Homes, which was eventually bought by BlackRock, I believe. So it was a very good experience seeing how it's done at the local level of 1,000 properties under management and then 20,000 properties under management across the United States. Shortly after that, I got my broker's license and opened up my own shop. So,
Nice, awesome. And can you tell us, like, in just one or two words, what first sparked your interest in this industry?
one of the things that I liked about it was the recession-proof business model of it. As
Yeah,
a realtor, on the buyer's agent mainly side of the transaction, you're always hunting for the next meal, right? You're always doing lots of Facebook posts, videos, all that kind of
yeah.
stuff, which we still do, just differently.
Hmm.
But I kind of wanted something that was a little bit more stable. I was having my first child right when I got into real estate, and so I wanted some aspect of stability with it, and that really drove me into it.
Nice, awesome. I like it. So, as you mentioned, like, you started a career like helping others build their businesses before launching your own. What was like the turning point that made you decide to go on your own after all of that?
Absolutely. One of the things that I really enjoyed about my experience at Empire, having those 400 properties, was we utilized virtual assistants. And I think at the time they had like 27 different virtual assistants. Well, luckily, I got very close with the operations owner and was able to essentially train a small dedicated team because it was they call it the pod system, which at the time, I believe in 2017, 2018 was kind of a new concept. So I had essentially what I created were specialists within my portfolio, from residential services to maintenance to accounting. And essentially with those three individuals, I would have them interact with the owners of the investors, to make sure that all answers, were taken care of. So that experience really drove me into thinking about how I can do this for myself. As we went to the hedge fund, their business model was different. Um, they outsourced a lot to, other RTMs across the world, India, Philippines, all that other kind of stuff. They had a lot more access, obviously, with hundreds of millions of dollars. And their end goals were also different as well. So it was really interesting to see various business models taking place. And so in those different interactions with those investors, I found something that worked for me, in terms of having that direct relationship. Because anybody in real estate knows, like, it's a relationship business. While
Mhm.
you want to be the McDonald's of the world, people's with hundreds of millions of dollars can more easily gain that end goal for themselves versus individuals like myself. So I really liked the interpersonal relationship, the way that I can directly affect a local member that has, between 1 and 10 properties. And then it's a little easier to control from a financial standpoint as well, because when you start departmentalizing things, it does make that relationship a little different. I wouldn't say worse. It just kind of depends on the relationship that the investor is looking for. But um, I appreciated a little bit more hands-on approach.
Nice, awesome. And as you already mentioned, like all of this kind of experience and challenges, what do you think are like two to three like lessons you learned from this past experience that are now like helping you scale faster with your own brand now, let's say?
Well, so this is the second property management company that I've owned.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
I can give you some information on lessons learned from there,
Mhm.
because every owner goes through their own lessons. Like I know the owners of
Of course.
Empire, their 9 years of experience was, their experience. The guys that developed the hedge fund, like they had their own experience. From my experience, one of the things that you want to do is build the business that you want it to be in the end, if you will, kind of with like a reverse engineering mentality. Um, I know my business partner at the time and the coach that I was working with at the time, my mentor,
Yeah,
had always had stated that. They were like, "Hey, don't solve the problem that you're trying to solve right now. Solve the problem that you're trying to get to in the end, because that's really where you want
okay.
to be." So it comes with different systems, because with different processes. It means hiring people before you're actually ready for it. Because by the time you hire them, you're probably already behind in the situation.
Yeah,
And like any new person, there's a level of fear in making that investment.
of course.
And so you always want to be hesitant. Especially at first, I was like, I don't know if I need these extra team members, even though we're scaling from like 60 to 150 to 250.
Yeah,
But you got to jump in with both feet. And, you know, that's why making sure that your systems and processes are documented. So that way it makes it easier to plug and play. It's never truly just a plug and play, but it makes it easier to reduce headaches in the future if all those steps are documented.
nice. I love your approach. Now let's like shift gears and talk about the, like, I can say, real estate like trends, I can say. So from your perspective, what are like biggest changes you've seen in your space maybe for the last 5 years?
Oh, wow. Lots of changes over the last 5 years. I would say one of the biggest changes over the last 5 years would be attributed to COVID. um, no longer was the need for people to come into the office, sit down at your desk, sign a piece of paper, do almost like a mock interview. On both sides of the fence when it comes to investors and residents.
Yeah,
I think COVID taught us that we didn't need to have a central hub of operations where, when I was coming up, we always went to the office, right? It was 9 to 5, sitting down in front of the computer, got my deal. um, that really changed when we went to the hedge fund, which was right in the middle of that COVID cycle. Everybody worked from home. So it was interesting to see, thousands of employees essentially just working remotely. So that was an interesting and grateful experience, in my opinion. I do find the value of having everybody together, because it does really help with that camaraderie. But it doesn't necessarily need to be like a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type scenario. Maybe we just get together quarterly or monthly or something like that, where we just make sure that, we're all vibing, and if there's any issues, they can be addressed. So I would say the in-person meetings is definitely one of them. I would also say one of the other big changes that we implemented in my first company was we moved away from uh, cash and paper money collection.
okay.
Um, Everything can be done electronically these days. And every time you're handing something off, there's an opportunity for that to get missed, an error to happen, something in that regard. You never want somebody to have an accident on the way to the bank or whatever the case may be, where it interrupts the money flow of the company. So now all of our investors, when they log into their investor portal, they need to make contributions, whatever the case may be. It's all electronic. Same thing on the resident side. Before we hand those keys over, all money needs to be collected electronically, but not just
Yeah,
collected. It needs to be like passed through the bank, like actually collected. You know what I mean?
yeah, fully. And
Those
what
are two.
about the like, what about the client expectations? Like, how much have that changed over the past few years?
I'm sorry. Say again.
What about like the client expectations? Or
Oh,
like the clients expecting the same things like now versus 5 years ago? Like,
oh, client expectations are very. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. Robust. They're very
okay,
robust. So essentially, several years ago, when property management was refining itself because if you've been in this space a while, from
Yeah,
2020 until now, even when you talk to the National Association of Property Managers, there really wasn't a whole lot. They were kind of just like developing this whole concept of what property management actually is. And so I would say right around 2018 to 2019, when systems actually started kind of coming into focus, and then the rise of AI lately, the expectations from an investor standpoint have grown dramatically. There's a lot less excuses for, oh, well, I couldn't get to that, or it's going to take me 3 or 4 days to get back to you with an answer. The expectation these days is to have an answer within 4 hours. But being a part of certain mastermind groups, like our expectations is, 1 to 2 hours to get a
yeah,
response. Even if it is something as simple as if it's a complex matter, you don't always have to have the answer at that moment, but you got to be out there and just say, hey, we hear you. We're going to look into this and we're going to get back to you as soon as possible. And then, depending on what level of escalation that issue is, you either go directly to the maintenance team, resident services, accounting, whatever it is, and then just address it and have a response as soon as possible. Because it is all about that trust building factor. And the longer you let something sit out there, it degrades that trust, faster than if you're able to just to like eat the frog and move forward.
yeah. I fully agree on that part because I can start saying from the technology impact, like this like change and it evolved like the way the client expectation like changed as well. Because most of the clients now want to be up to date with everything. Where they don't want like to send you emails, calls, like what's the latest update? Is this finished? Is this like on the progress? But that use of the latest technology like client portals, AI, this kind of stuff they wanted to be up to date, like using their own platform. And as we are talking about technology and AI, how do you think that has impacted overall this industry that you personally as a founders have like noticed this? It also like it impacted you in this case.
Well, I will agree with a lot of the statements that you had made in terms of just the evolution of software in general. Um,
Yeah,
the investors and the residents too, they want to be in the know of what's happening. And so when I initially started, there were what they call, I guess, legacy products, but that was even back then, which
yeah,
at the time was new, but it really wasn't new. Like it was the old school blue screen, and you're just like, well, yeah, it was robust and to be able to like connect to all these systems, but it really didn't allow a lot of what do you call it, real time access, if you will.
yeah,
And that I will say is a very large shift within the last few years with the technology that we're using right now. Our operating system allows you to use like live ledgers, stuff like that, where people can see in real time what's happening, including with our maintenance system that we use with Property Meld. People can actually see the conversations between you, the vendor, the resident itself, images, videos, all that stuff in real time. So that way
yeah.
everybody is in the know. There's no masking what's going on. The transparency, I think, was key element and why we choose the specific softwares that we choose.
Yeah, I fully agree on that part because in the past, as you mentioned, like there were like the computer, the technology, but as the AI wasn't like pretty evolved, that all there always had to be like an admin to go to the admin panel and just like update so the client can see like the latest. But
Right.
now everything is like managed through AI. You don't need like someone to be like on the chair and for every update to go and just click a button or like update or save changes because now AI is doing all the part and the client is not missing anything through seconds and is always up to date. And all of this kind of pull is like increase the client satisfaction, the close rate, the money, I can say the revenue, all of this kind of stuff have like skyrocketed since AI like it's integrated in real estate properties. Like not properties, but like companies. Yeah, sorry. So as we are talking about also some challenges, what do you think are some operational challenges that are keeping you maybe or holding you back to succeed in even more, even faster, closing more deals?
Um, well, my organization personally, the bottleneck from the sales front uh, is it's a good problem to have. Sometimes we
Hmm.
often get a lot of internet traffic, because that's just partly we do the Google ads. We do podcasts like this, so we get lots of traffic
Hmm.
coming in. Um, and it kind of depends on the model that you've got set up.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Mark Cunningham where his property managers are the actual salespeople, which is a great
Hmm.
model. I love that. We don't have thousands of doors like he does,
Hmm.
so our team is not scaled at that point right there. So, and also the system that we have set up, we're not one of the we'll take anybody type companies.
Hmm.
We're very thorough in the individuals that we bring over. In my first organization, we took at anything and everything. There are tons of Class D, Class C properties where people are just dealing with nightmares. Um, and there's a good business model to be made for that. I mean, I built it and sold it already, so I know what it looks like. But since I've already kind of been down that road, I want to be a little bit more choosy with the individuals that I help with, especially right now when we're getting this massive rise in accidental landlords, because we went through a decade of low interest rates. Inventory is just like there's lots of inventory. Lots of people either can't or don't want to sell their properties now. So you get all these first time landlords that really don't know the nuances, the legal ramifications for certain actions, or they're just not skilled enough in terms of like managing a ledger legally. We run into all kinds of stuff, which is why I was using those examples. But
Yeah.
so yeah, there's a lot of that.
Nice. And also from the way like you like get, I can say new clients, potential clients. As you mentioned, like you have like referrals, ads, and so on. Which like platform or channel is like your preferred one where you get the most of the traffic, like either website, maybe Facebook Messenger, maybe Instagram, LinkedIn. Which one of these is are you using to get the most traffic?
I will say for us currently, we still get a lot of traffic through Google Ads. I have noticed a rise in the Bing AI referrals coming through our data. So that's very interesting. I do have a GPT account myself that I use. Um,
Mhm.
so I know there's definitely value there for sure. Um, I would say that right now a lot of it is through, we have several YouTube channels, so we do get
Okay.
quite a bit of traffic through there as well.
Nice, awesome. And the reason for asking is because this, I can say, this topic is like for the moment for real estate leaders is the place where it's like the most automated right now.
Yeah,
Because in the past, let's say you have like to have 10 agents to like respond to people either in message, either in WhatsApp, even in website emails, all this kind of stuff. And now like the AI is taking over where you can automate all of these channels at once. So either the potential clients reaching out from the website, those chatbots on the bottom right, either from email, messenger, all this kind of stuff, they are all can be like automated using AI. And the AI chatbot will like, respond back in seconds because one of the pain points most of the agencies I've seen have is like they are losing clients because of speed. Because
right.
let's say I'm trying to reach out to you or someone for, of course, hiring you for your service, and now your agent is either busy or either it's in like holidays, and like I don't have 10 minutes to wait for a response. So I will
Absolutely.
go to your competitor, I can say, but now with AI integrated, he will respond in seconds. He will respond the right answers based on the question, and also it will qualify the leads. So you don't have to spend maybe 2 hours trying to qualify the lead, and maybe in the end he said, "I doesn't have the money. I don't live there. I misunderstood your services," and you lost 2 hours, and also the close was like lost. And the AI is doing all the qualifications. So it's like an awesome, and it's an awesome automation people are using. And as we are talking about automation, which part of your day-to-day work, like, it's like the most frustrating part that would you would like to automate it yourself? That you would know with those automated, you would have more time to close deals.
I would say that the onboarding process is probably something I would really like to automate. When you get the initial sales call, most investors typically have the same three questions, right? It's
Mhm.
communications, maintenance, and accounting. That's kind of like their biggest thing is, how do I get my money? How are going to manage the maintenance on the property? And,
Mhm.
how are we going to communicate to make sure that they're in the know, right? It's pretty much
Yeah,
always the same thing. So as long as you've got good answers on how you're going to approach those and they're in agreement with it, then, your onboarding is your next step. And the onboarding is a contract. So typically, when you kind of go over those, there's a lot more questions and of the what if type things. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so that's why we kind of use a two-step process in our organization for that, just to make sure that everybody's super comfortable with coming on board because there's limitless what ifs. What if my dog gets run over and what happens to my pet fee? Like there's all kinds
yeah.
of just random stuff. So I would say that if there's a way to automate that, that would probably make that process go faster. But at the same time, I'm hesitant on automating that because the interpersonal interaction here is very valuable, and that's what a lot of investors, kind of want. So it's kind of that catch-22 part
Mhm.
of that aspect. I think another one would be outbound sales because I've been
Okay.
doing this for 10 years, right? So I've got like 15,000 individuals that I've worked with over the last 10 years. And if I could have AI just call them and say, "Hey, are you still renting your properties? Do you have any interest to talk to, somebody at Texas Property Management Partners?" That would be like fantastic. But
Yeah.
from all the people, the developers I've done interviews with, they hook you in saying they can do that, but when you actually interview them, they're like, "Well, it actually can't do that." It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
why are we
No.
sitting here? Just tell
Mhm.
me that in the first place. So,
Yeah. And to tell you something that you would like, that is possible, what you just mentioned. It's like the old AI calling. So it does like all the outbound. And it's like going and it's getting like advanced day to day because you can like grab a group of numbers, I can say, all the your clients, number potential clients. You can just put it on the dashboard and the AI will start calling themselves. They will also talk with them. And you can also customize the AI voice, like you want it to be a woman, a man, maybe like the accent, like UK or maybe US, maybe Indian, depending on where your audience is. And also,
right.
you can also customize the back noise. Do you want to sound like you're in an office? Do you want to sound as if you are in a coffee,
Right.
all of this kind of stuff because I worked on this kind of project and it's like fascinating. And a lot of companies use it in real estate, but also in solar player, on the solar industry. They
Right.
use this to get on bite and get new leads, like renew their license and this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's possible. Awesome. So if you, I wanted to ask you a question that I always ask to my guests. So if you would have like a magic wand that would solve like critical, I can say, pain points to your business, what would it be? And with those fixes I mentioned, you will skyrocket.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again? A
Absolutely.
magic wand?
So if you would have a magic wand that could solve 2 to 3 of your biggest pain points, what would those pain points be?
If I if I had a magic wand to solve maintenance management, that would probably be the biggest one.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
but the issue with anything technological is that somebody has to be there to open the door, right? So
Mhm.
it does have its limits. But if I had a magic wand, yeah, Tesla's robots come into the property, tighten the wrench on there. That would be an amazing evolution to the industry for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of the accounting stuff can be automated right now. Especially with like different changes in tax laws and stuff like that. So that's kind of not really a big one. Let's see here, resident communication that can be a big one. Oftentimes we get just like random calls for, oh, the neighbor, the neighbor's dog bit me. It's like, okay, well, call the
Mhm.
cops. Like
Yeah.
there's no need for me to be here.
Yeah. What do you want from me?
Right? So that would be a good one. You can't solve certain problems.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, I think probably the bigger one for me personally would just be on the sales aspect. If I could just say, AI shoots out the phone calls, finds people that are interested, maybe hands it off to another interested AI on the back end that, answers that, then immediately ships them over to an onboarding AI. Like that would be
Mhm.
an amazing thing. But, obviously the fear is taking away that interpersonal relationship that people, really value. So
Yeah, but that feeling I think is just like for the present because in the future that's gonna change. Like I've been in the US this summer and I noticed something that on the medical care industry, you could call the agency and ask about questions and the AI will pick up instead of a person. And me who is calling the medical, I know it's AI and it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal because they are getting more familiar with AI stuff and they just started to accept it. It's easier to talk now to AI because he is not tired. He will not talk you out of mood because sometimes can be not out of mood and can just like ruin your day. The AI will talk always politely, always like hyped, always to try to give you the best results. And people in US, which I saw this last summer, are like good with that. They don't care if it's your AI as long as the job is done. They get
I
the
would agree
results they
with you.
want. Yeah,
I would agree with you. What that was one of the lessons that I learned in building that pod system with that first company,
yeah,
because what I realized very quickly in managing those 400 homes is that if I, as the property manager, was the only person picking up all the phone calls, like I couldn't, I became that bottleneck of information. So it was in the company's best interest to train the specialists around me because one of the things that I found in talking to those owners is that they didn't care where the answer came from. They just needed
yeah.
the answer. And so I would
That's
have
all
to
we
agree with
need.
you. It will shift.
Yeah. Yeah, that is like the reason for the call. I don't care who I talk to, like get me the results, or if you're talking for like the how to say the medical confirmation, or it's my friend's sick or something. I just need information. It doesn't matter who is giving it to me.
Right.
So like Trey, before like we wrap up, where can our listeners and also the potential clients reach out to you if they want to?
Absolutely. We have a call center. So if you'd like to call us directly, give us a call at 800-833-8330, or you can find us, on the web, Texas Property Management Partners.com.
Okay,
Or look us
absolutely.
up on YouTube. I've got a ton of videos out there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So, Trey, thank you very much for your time. It was fun, inspirational, and also insightful conversation. And for everyone who is watching, thank you. Keep growing, keep thriving, and I will see you on the next video.
All right. Thanks, Durad. It's good meeting you. Talk to you.